Hi, this is Christian Chase with Chase Real Estate and ChaseForeclosure.com. Hey, I've got our lead listing broker, Neil Gates, with us here today.
Hello.
And he is going to be giving some tips for our investors. When you get a property all fixed up, cleaned up, you get it back on the market. Neil is the one that handles all of the listings for us. And the reason why I hired this guy many years ago is one, he's got an awesome English accent. Although he's lived here since sixth grade, so I don't know if it's 100% authentic, but regardless, he has, why I liked him as a listing broker is so many agents who list properties throughout the Chicagoland area. When they list a property, they get this God complex, and they really take over, and they're like, it's almost a battle. A buyer's agent wants to come in, and then they're going to have to battle against this listing broker who's got this God complex. And we work completely different. When we're listing a property in the MLS, we are saying to all the buyer's agents, let's cooperate, right. I mean, it's a big thing is we want to work with you. We're going to work together as a team to get this property under contract and get it to close. And when you work that way, that's where the best success Neil and I and Christy have had working together is really working with the buyer's agent as a team.
Yeah.
And, in positioning in the broker private remarks on the MLS, hey, we want to work together with you, buyer's agent, as a team. We're here. Please send over your offer through our system so we can respond to you very quickly. Yeah. Now, a lot of agents do something completely different. They put in there, do not send over a DocuSign contract. It must be wet signatures. You must put your information on this form. And they make it like it's already a battle. Yeah. And we're trying to do something completely different. And so, but why I hired him is because when somebody calls up Neil and he's got his great English accent, and much better than my Chicago accent for sure, and you'll hear it in just a second, but when you hear his accent, it kind of makes you feel a little bit more comfortable. There's not going to be this battle that's there, at one, and then two, Neil absolutely 100% does not have a God complex. He respects the buyer's agents and their time that they've invested in running around with the buyer, coming in, and then us all working together. And so everybody asks, and realtors ask this all the time, hey, Christian, Christy, Neil, what is the secret to the success in what you guys do? We see you selling so many properties, and I would attest it to, having good personalities in place, I mean, one, I'm passionate about real estate. Neil is passionate about this, but he's really passionate about customer service, not only to the buyers that are coming through, but to the buyers' agents that are coming through. And I think that's, they're not our customer, but it's offering a nice service to make them feel comfortable. So that was really the big reason why we put Neil on board. And what I wanted Neil to talk about here quickly is just a couple things, is some tips for investors when they've got the property back on the market for sale. And what's the number one thing, Neil, an investor should be doing to get their property sold? Tip one.
Yeah. So first of all, you threw me off a little bit, because I thought we were going to be talking about World Cup and how England's going to be doing in the World Cup.
Oh, soccer. So all right. Or football.
So we're going to talk about real estate.
Yes.
Okay. So the one thing that I would say would be the best thing that an investor could do before they're listing their house is to have a pre-listing home inspection. And that is to get our home inspector out there, Mike, right? Mike's a great guy. He's a fantastic guy. And also the other thing about Mike that I like is that because he works with a lot of our investors, that he gets us to the top of the list really quickly. If you call him up and say, hey, Mike, I need this home inspection done, he's usually there within a day or two. So I like that about Mike. And then Mike's going to go through and he's going to find a few things that maybe we're going to put some buyer off. And now we can get those things addressed before somebody even goes in there, puts their offer in, and then they have their own home inspection. And now we've just we've squashed that. That's not going to come up, and your chances of selling that house now is going to be higher to keep that deal going instead of somebody canceling over something that was really dumb.
Yeah,
And
Mike
a lot-
finds. I'm sorry, but Mike
Yeah.
finds like, oh hey, there's something in the attic, discoloration in the attic. He'll call it out on that pre-listing home inspection, and we address it before the buyer comes through and has a home inspection, and then wants $10,000 for
Right.
something that cost us $70 to fix.
Yeah.
That's probably
That's it.
the big reason behind
Yeah.
it. And we see buyers a lot of times. Neil is the one that sees this all the time and then is kind of reporting back to us. But he's like, hey, this buyer bailed because they got scared on, like that.
Something like that. A discoloration in the attic, they say, oh, there's potential mold. And whenever they say, they can use the word potential, but the second word is mold, and they hear mold, they don't hear potential. They think it is mold.
Right.
And Mike will go in and he'll do his mold inspection
and done, and it's taken care of before we even have the property listed. And I think that's the thing is what we're trying to do is let's get the scary stuff out of the way before we get it listed, and then we've got it fixed, and then we put the home on the market. One, they'll sell faster. Two, they sell for more. We're not negotiating home inspection type stuff because we already had a home inspection. That's not to say that this home inspection will take place of the buyer's home inspection. They're still going to do their own independent home inspection, and that's okay. But if there is something that's potentially scary that Mike found, we can address that, up front. So, yeah. And then, another tip is, one is doing these pre-listing home inspections, but then, what's something else, Neil, that all investors should be doing, when their home's listed for sale?
Yeah. So part of our system is using showing time, as most of you know. The agents schedule the showings in showing time, but we also have feedback in showing time that the agents get asked multiple times to send feedback. And when they do send it, we'd like you to make sure that you're reading it and you're responding to it and reacting to it. Because if there's something in there that they bring up, for example, somebody may have shown a house over the weekend that there was maybe some water. It's been raining here like crazy. And there could have been some water in there. So instead of just letting that sit and not telling anybody about it, let's react to that quickly. And this can be for any other item. Not necessarily things like they'll say the price is too high. But if the price is too high, they think that because potentially whatever that issue was that they saw, they think that that's a reason to lower the price when we could have just fixed that.
Yeah, and it's not a price issue. Yeah, that's the thing is sometimes I think investors a lot of times see on feedback, price too high, and then they interpret that the property is listed too high in price. But no, in reality, it's priced too high, but there's been other agents that have reported a leak in the basement, or there's some rotted wood on some trim out on the exterior, and they automatically go price too high, and you'll a lot of times see feedback. So reacting to it, like Neil said, like right away, and address the issue, get that out of the way, because if one buyer saw it, another one's going to see it, and you're going to have multiple people responding to that. So the purpose of this video today is really just to kind of make sure that all of our investors know who Neil is, and why we have him on our team, and is in a critical part to getting these properties sold. And it's been tested, tried, and true. I mean, realtors love working with them, and they send them emails, and I see it. And so when I see him getting those kind of responses, from other agents that are technically a competitor of his, but going, you're really nice to work with, and you're a pleasure. I mean, there was one here last week we were just talking about, and seeing that. So he's building these good relationships with them. He's still working for our investors, but he wants to encourage them to bring offers on our property versus, Susie's property down the street. We want them coming to us because we're going to make their lives
Yeah.
a little bit easier, I think.
Yeah.
So
That's it.
that's it. And then the investor can take some action. And as always, if you have any questions, you can always call me or Neil. We're always around and available to talk. And check out our website, chaseforeclosure.com. Thanks.
Thanks.